art is always a reflection of your life. It's a
Mm.
bit like, I mean, sometimes you do things and you don't realize what you actually do, and then someone else might see what's going on in you. It's just something that comes from really deep inside you. And I think that natural connection is me.
Anna, it's so great to meet you here on
It
Zoom.
is.
I love your art. I love your ceramic work. And I saw on Instagram immediately, it caught my eye. And then I read about your lovely, like your outlook on why you do the art. And I find it really interesting.
Mhm.
So, but let's talk about your art, what you're doing. So you're working with ceramics. You're a ceramic artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah,
And what
so
are the mediums you use?
I use metal
Mm.
and lately artificial intelligence.
Okay.
I use it, I can call it a tool.
Mm.
Um, but I would say, yeah, mainly metal, sometimes wood, but mainly metal and ceramics.
And what is it about ceramics that why do you use this medium? I mean, what is it
Ceramics?
about ceramics? Yeah.
I use it because I fell in love with it at an early age. I went to an art school and we had to choose between different pathways.
Okay.
And my mum was a big fan of pottery.
Oh,
My
really?
grandfather was a painter and a glass blower and graphic designer. And I come from a ceramic, not a ceramic background, but an artist background. And no one does ceramics in my family, but my mum just loves the material. And I think I always grew up with it. We always went to different exhibitions, and I think I just fell in love with it. I did a course when I was 12, I think.
Mhm.
And then in art school, I had to choose, and it was a medium that allowed me to work in 3D. And I just love how it felt. And I was always a child who liked to be outside and play with mud, and I always
Really?
like plasticine, I think it's the
Mhm.
English word.
Mhm.
I always loved that. Love
Mhm.
to do something with my hands.
So when you initially went to study art, was that what you want? So that's what you wanted to go and do
Yeah.
to work ceramics. Mm.
I wanted to, so when I went to the art school, I wasn't sure yet
Mhm.
what I want to do. I think I wanted to go more into the painting direction or drawing, painting, that was something that was in my mind. I was very close-minded as a child. I mean, I was 14 and in school, in primary school, you don't have much possibilities to really explore. So my grandfather was a painter. I thought I'm the best in school with painting. So this would be like a normal pathway that I will go. And then I went to this art school in Graz, the art one school. And yeah, and then they tried out different things. And I think it was just something that I was naturally drawn to. I can't explain, but I wasn't really exposed to it before. Let's say like that. I
Yeah.
knew the material mud, as I mean, everyone knows what everyone had clay in their hands before somehow when you do gardening, but I never saw it as a potential job or as a potential pathway because no one in my family did it.
Oh, yeah. But it's so beautiful how you do it. I mean, it's like the artworks, and this is what I read on your website is that you see human interference in natural um, environment. And is this what you base your work on then?
Yeah. So it all has to do with the relationship that we have with it and the feeling that it gives us. That topic is more relevant than ever since I moved to London 5 years ago, when I didn't have that anymore. So I grew up in Austria in a very rural area, very countryside. So we grow our own food in the garden. So I'm used to that. My grandfather went to the forest with me all the time. My grandma speaks about the forest all the time and going to the mountain, hiking. And I didn't have that in London anymore. And I think it's such a shame that many people never really experienced that nature can be such a big part of your everyday life. Because they never, I mean, they don't have the possibilities in a big city. I think it's a big city thing in general. But my personal experience has to do with London. My flat, I mean, you don't see it now, but I have flowers everywhere in the flat.
Really?
I'm surrounded by it.
Bringing nature into the city.
I needed it, yeah. I needed it. And I think art is always a reflection of your life. It's a bit like, I mean, sometimes you do things and you don't realize what you actually do, and then someone else might see what's going on in you. It's just something that comes from really deep inside you. And I think that natural connection is me. And there was, if I can say, there was a moment during COVID, because I studied COVID. I studied during COVID in London, and there was a moment where I was dreaming every night that I'm a deer sleeping in a forest in a bed of moss, and there's a light coming through, and I looked to the leaves, and it was just the most peaceful moment I've ever been in. And I dreamt that scene about 2 weeks long.
Really?
Over 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And I thought, what is this? Is this like a near-death experience? Something like, what does this dream mean? And then I thought, I actually miss the forest so much. I miss sleeping in moss or sitting in moss, playing with natural materials, and I just never realized how important that is. And then I really went to a park. It's a bit embarrassing to say, but I went to a park and then I just hugged a tree. I mean, the people looked a bit weird, but I hugged the tree and I was crying. I felt this was such a beautiful experience. And then I realized, okay, I need to do more with that. This is doing something with me. This is really coming really deep inside. And
well,
yeah.
I love that you, I mean, I absolutely, when I read it on your website, I thought, wow, this is amazing that that this is again a way of art saying something and giving out a message and making people think, making people aware. And looking at your work also, I can totally see, the pots that you make with these, it looks like roots of a tree going over the pot, and it's like almost like nature again, sort of takes back what was taken.
Yeah, and it also is a resemblance of my hometown, maybe, or my home, where I come from, the roots, and also this feeling when you go away from home that you feel a bit derooted in a way. If you don't know where your trip is going and you are in an in-between state where you don't know what is the next step, or you maybe feel a bit disconnected to your ground if you're not really settled. If you move flats a lot, or if you change job, it feels a bit like derooted. Or even if a person dies, you feel derooted because you need to rearrange your life completely different. You will have new patterns because that person is gone or because you move away. So it's a big step. And that's how I felt for a really long time, also during COVID, during that time when I had to fly back to Austria because we had to give up the flat here in London because my flatmates, they all moved back to their families because it was a very uncertain time, of course. Then I never knew when I can come back. So I was always in a temporary state. And roots give me so much stability and joy. If you
Well,
look at them, they just make you calm.
yeah, I can so totally relate to it because I'm originally from South Africa, and
Yeah.
it is like you are derooted, or
Yeah.
how do you say? Because then within wherever you are, you have to make new roots again,
Yeah.
and it's almost as if you go back, then you know that's where you were initially planted, I would say, so I can totally relate to what you're saying. And maybe that's subconsciously why the artwork so spoke to me, that when I saw it, it's really beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
tell me, so are you studying at the moment?
No, I finished 2021.
Okay, so now you are full-time artist.
Yeah.
And doing
As a teacher.
exhibitions? Mhm.
Last year, I did quite a lot of exhibitions. I took a bit of a break because exhibitions are very expensive. Like when you do exhibitions also to gain contacts, it's not always that you make money out of them. I live in London, it's very expensive as well. So I always have like certain how do I call it? Like seasons or like
Oh, yeah.
times where I do certain things. So I say, okay, I give myself a half a year and I exhibit a lot, which was last year. This year I concentrate more on teaching, which gives me a lot back. Maybe we can speak about that later.
Yeah.
And and then this new year, I mean, the new year comes soon, but I would say from now on till next year, I'm trying to create new artworks in a different direction. So I'm in a threshold position right now, but I'm comfortable with teaching and makes me happy. But I'm a full-time teacher, technician, artist, so I do some exhibitions on the side. But
So,
exhibitions cost a
mhm.
lot of energy and time as well.
And I presume, when you do an exhibition, you have to create a whole range of things to exhibit. So,
Yeah.
where do you get, apart from nature, but what inspires then? What makes you get up and get going? And how do you get your ideas?
Um, I think it's hard to say. The most ideas come under pressure.
Oh, okay.
Like spoke with my mom about that lately. And I said I actually created the best things under pressure. Time pressure, pressure. I just thrive. And then I think that's why.
Oh, yeah.
I tend to overthink and then it just comes out of me.
Mm.
Um, but of course, I think I'm a person who is very intensely an artist since forever. So I always identified myself as an artist. I was doing I was working for my dad for his metal working business for 10 years and some other little jobs in between. But other than that, since I'm 14, I'm a potter. So I never identified myself with something else. So that's all I know. So in my everyday life, I perceive things, I look at things. I had a time where I was inspired by vegetables, like the Romanesco vegetables or cabbage. I liked structures. So every time I went shopping, I saw a new structure. I bought that vegetable and made a cast out of it and then used it in my artworks or tableware or whatever. I was very young. These were my beginnings. And now it's more like in summer, I was in Austria. And we went hiking, and then I saw like just a little wooden a pillar, and it was full with lichen and moss and all sorts of things. So I took a photograph, and I don't know, I make some folders on my phone, and every time I don't have an idea, I just go back to that and I print it out, put it on my wall, and it's hard. I think it just comes to you.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't really plan it.
Mm.
It's just here, and it's this small little perceptions throughout the day or the week or the month or years, and then somehow they come to you and come together.
And I just spoke to a singer-songwriter this morning, and while she's on the process of writing songs, and we talked about, you know, this idea of you having the confidence to put your work out there. Was it for you also, as working with the clay as a ceramist? Did you have the confidence initially when you did your first exhibition or when you put your first work out? Did you feel that, okay, this is it, you know, I'm ready to put it out there for people to see?
There's never a moment where I say I'm totally happy with my work, or I never
Really?
say this is it. I'm very self-critical.
Mm-hmm.
I can always see how to do it better. But I think one of my biggest exhibitions I did in London, and I did them after my university, and university gives you quite good confidence, especially if you go to good university and they say, "Oh yeah, you are one of the best art universities," and they push you constantly. They always remind you how great they are, kind of.
Oh, okay.
That helped a lot. They really pushed me. I was like, when I was done with university, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. And my master work, I was quite proud of because it was a very personal work. It was a gate from ceramics, and it had to do a lot with myself, and it was not very, how can I say? You couldn't see how personal it is from the first place. But it
Okay.
was very out of the box, and I was quite proud of it that I made it. And it was during COVID, and nearly, I would say, we had 50 visitors for 80 students. So it wasn't, but I was ready on that day. I was ready to show it, and I was quite proud. But with other works after university and this back and forth, this COVID time really hit me. I need to say this was really a big back and forth situation that I now start to recover from. But I think it depends on which exhibition. Depends on which exhibition. If it's a really, really big one, I might say, okay, I could do better.
Oh, okay.
I try not to tell people or show them that I'm actually not happy with it 100%, but I know there was a deadline and I had to get it ready by then. And I'm always telling myself this is a bit the best I could do within that time frame. And I know that I never stop learning. Even if you're 100 years old, you will never stop learning, and you're not super smart. You still need to, I don't know. You learn every day. It doesn't stop. I think it's
Yeah,
the acceptance.
I think you can also see and look back on your work and see how you progressed, or, you know,
Yeah.
the evolution of your work. But do you go back to your first works and, you know, can you look at them and still think they were good for the time when they were made? Were you critical of your first works?
Yes, yeah. I learned that during teaching, because when you teach, you need to tell people it's okay to fail in the beginning. It's a process. And you need to do things 100 times till you're really good. And you can't be good from the beginning. So I was very young when I started. So for me, it's easy because I can say, okay, I was 14, I was 15.
Oh, yeah.
A good excuse. If I had been 30 when I started, it would have been harder probably.
Yeah. But you're talking about the teaching now, and does that help you also in your process, in your growth as an
Yeah,
artist?
100%. Yeah. It's very interesting. I basically tell people the things that I should tell myself.
Really?
Subconsciously, I do. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, oh, just speaking with the mirror, basically.
Mm.
Yeah. I learn a lot. That's why I love it. And I love how ideas bounce back and forth and how solution oriented you actually need to be. And it's so amazing to help people on their path. I'm a very, very big empath. So I love to help people. I wish I could help people more with my artworks. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Maybe you do without you knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who are the students that you teach?
I have, so I worked in the past for pottery studios, but now I have mainly private students who have their own pottery studios at home. I had 3 students recently who set up their own studio at home. So I spoke with the architect, or I did some drawings. We designed some furniture for them. Was going through the ideas that they have, the clay that they have, firing temperatures. We set up everything. So I basically helped them to realize their dreams, and that's in London. So it's amazing. You have limited space, but we kind of find a way to make it quite compact and efficient, and sometimes cost saving or beautiful, whatever. Everyone needs something different, and also help them to achieve their goals. When they say, I had a lady who said she wants to make 200 cups for a cafe, and I helped her doing that, and
Amazing.
finished, and she's happy every day that she did.
But now that you're mentioning about the whole setup of a studio, it's not something like, if you're a painter and you have your small flat somewhere in London, you can still do painting, but you really need the firing urns and So how do you work? I mean, do you have your own studio as well?
Recently, so I moved in with my boyfriend in a 2-bed flat room, 2-bed flat, and I have an extra room, so I'm about to set it up right now, do some work. That studio I will use mainly to create ideas, maybe use also different materials. I want to work a bit with metal and light, and I have a whole range of tools that I had during my COVID home student time, and that has a space right now. And I have other studios that I can use. So in one studio, I'm a technician, so I can use it there. There are local studios here. I still need to speak to them if I can work there, but there are possibilities. I
Okay,
can't.
yeah, so you have to have, I mean, you work on a wheel as well, and you have to have a place for the clay, and of course that needs to dry and then to bake and so on. So you need a separate place for that, or a separate studio for that.
I mean, at the moment, I can do it here. I actually bought a wheel. It should come today, like a mini wheel. I will do some miniature works at home.
Okay.
That maybe I like miniature pieces, and I also could use that miniature piece to produce something bigger, like as a model as well, which I could then do somewhere else. But I have enough space to dry them here.
Oh, okay.
Then I can just bring them to the studio to fire.
Oh, I see. But I spoke to a ceramic artist or a clay artist a while ago, and he makes huge, like huge pots and so on that's going outside. But we talked about the science behind it also, because there is a lot of science in your art. I mean, and about the temperatures and the clay and all sorts of things. So do you think it's important to have that, a little bit of a background, a science background? Or does the artwork, the art teaches you that?
I mean, we had lots of chemistry. I think chemistry is very important. And I think it's always good to know your material and what it does. But then I think I work in a studio with 80 members, and they come up with ideas that are crazy. And I would have never imagined doing things like that. And I have the knowledge that you can't do things like that, but they don't have the knowledge. So they find new ways. I think it's just important to have a person who can tell you what you do wrong or how you can repair it if things go wrong. I don't think you need to do it yourself. I mean, of course, depends. When you do sculptures, I think because it's okay to be experimental. Ceramics can be very experimental in general. That's the fun part of it. You basically have a machine that fires up to 1,300 degrees, and you can throw everything in that you think theoretically when there's a wood firing kiln or a gas kiln. So you can do quite a lot of things. You have so many possibilities, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's maybe even more exciting. But I think in order to make really high quality pieces that don't break, you need to have a bit of a knowledge. Depends, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people are lucky, they come up with something and it works, but it's a coincidence. And it's very frustrating because if you don't know what went wrong, then it takes you really long to figure out why. In ceramics, I always say to my students when they throw, you just need to know how to repair it. I mean, you need to throw good, but you need to know how to clear up your mistakes. If you do something wrong, look at the piece and read in it what went wrong. That's how you progress. And when you do sculptures and they constantly break, what do you do with that sculpture? If your way of working is that you have broken pieces, okay, then that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a difficult question. I see a lot of people who are self-taught and make mistakes, and it looks great. So, but yeah, I think it's a profession. Many people forget that being a potter is a really highly skilled profession, where there's so much you need to know. And I think if you don't have that knowledge, you might not come into certain circles. If you just do it for fun at home, I think it's enough. All depends.
Yeah, but I think, we don't realize it also when you buy pottery, or when you buy something that was handmade, that you don't understand all the skill and all the time and everything that goes into it. We don't really see it that way always, buying pottery. So it's great to have that insight into what can go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes potters, they need to make 100 pots, so they figure out how to do that one pot right. Some kilns are unstable, and then 5 pieces break, and then one comes out, and it's nice. I saw something on Instagram that there's a Chinese factory, and they have like 60% they throw away, and the rest they can actually sell. I don't know if that's true, but yeah.
60%.
There's a lot of waste.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, but so you said now about the teaching that it also brings a lot for you, and is that something you also do? You also teach children, or is it just really professional?
At the moment, yeah, just professional. It's really people who do pottery since 10 years or 20 years. One of them is a beginner, but she has a lot of possibilities because she has a big house. And children, I was teaching in Austria. I was teaching in a primary school.
I
like a
think
forest school.
I think this is such a lovely art to be able to do for children, you know. So
Yeah.
it would be nice if schools implemented it. It'd be so great for them
I
to
mean,
really
some do. Some do, because I always ask people, did you do pottery before? And they say in school, but just
really.
briefly. Yeah. Some,
Mm, that's wonderful.
yeah. But no, I mean, depends on the school, of course.
Yeah. Well, but tell me, Anna, what is the wish? What are the wishes for you for the future? What would you like to see happening with your art?
I think I would love to always have this, can I say, this ability to be hungry for something new. That I'm a bit like a child sometimes when I'm very excited. I just want to try this, want to try this. So I started to work with robots and then try to figure out how their legs work and like spider robots. And I just never want to never be tired to not explore new things. I think that gives me a lot of joy to just think about a topic and then really dig deep into that and then do some research about it and some tests and then I'll bring it out there. And I think I want to work more new project. I don't want to sit and get too comfortable with one style. I kind of enjoy always doing different things. They all work together very well. You could see this is my work, but they are also completely different. So I'm trying to move on from the vases that I made, and then do something different out of it. So I'm at the moment at this threshold stage, as I said. And I think I like to do different exciting projects, like designing an entrance of a hotel, for example,
Oh, wow.
or work together with restaurants and design cool tableware, whatever. So I'm very versatile and I love to work in that direction. So I
That's
think
amazing. Yeah.
my Instagram is a bit confusing. It shows all sorts of things, but I think lately I've people found me. I don't have much followers, but I feel like you know, you found me
Yeah.
somehow. I never showed them, I never paid for an advertisement or anything. I just popped up because I maybe fit into your interest
Yeah,
and
people, but this is how
what
I
I love.
find people. They just come on my news feed for some reason,
Yeah.
and you know, and I thought, wow, you're doing amazing work, and found it really beautiful, and
Mm.
it just made me contact you, and yeah, and it's so interesting what you're doing, and I love also that you explore. You know, that you don't just stay with one type of thing, but that you feel that you like to explore and do different things.
Yeah. Because I always felt like, sounds stupid, but I went to college for 5 years, then I went to a diploma master school for 2 years, and then I studied for 2 years. So it's 9 years of school and university. And I feel so restricted if I make a vase and all that knowledge that I have goes into that one little piece. It would never be possible. There was a time when I felt like this is impossible. I'm so overwhelmed. How can I know so much more, and this one piece would be just 2% of what I can do. Why would I limit myself? And I know in the artwork, I know that many galleries here in London, they like an artist where they can put a stamp on them and say, this is the artist who always does this. They have a series, it's very easy, understandable, that one brief. And I try to fit in for a bit, but I think that's not me. I love
Mm,
I love jumping right, left,
mm,
doing all sorts of things. And the bigger picture fits together and makes me because I'm so versatile
mm,
and multidisciplinary. And that gives me joy.
mm.
And it's a
And I
good
think
thing.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful because I think, like you say, it's all those years, all that exposure to different things when you studied, you can now apply it to so many other things, that
Yeah.
you just don't have to do it in one specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love your approach.
Yeah. And that makes, I think, the difference between someone who is, because you asked me before when you're a beginner or if you need to have that background. I think if you have little background and little knowledge, it's okay to stick with one thing and become like a professional in that one thing. And I mean, in the end, you just need to try, sit down, do it many times, and then you get better and better. I think my thing, what I'm good in, is I have so many things that I'm good in. So why not exploring? And I think that that is the difference between me and someone who just started, because that person could never fit in so many roles. And ceramics is amazingly versatile. It's crazy. Like my work was about, my essay in uni was about how the role of a potter evolved throughout the last hundreds of years. And it was interesting how pottery started, and then it was like a material for building and the industry, and even before they used it for tableware and even cult objects and religious objects. It was like a spiritual thing as well. And now it became this completely new thing. Like before there was the studio potter, sorry, studio potter, and then we slowly began to write books about, I think Bernhard Leach was one of the first. He was writing a book about pottery, and then suddenly it became available for everyone. And now pottery is this thing that is a big hype all over the world. Someone told me, I don't know if it's right, but someone told me, when you live in New York and you don't do pottery, you're not cool.
Oh,
A lady told me. That's why she started doing it.
I see.
Just half a year ago. I don't know if it's still like that.
But now that you're saying it, it makes you think about how much it is around us, in different
Yeah.
forms, and it's not just in the things, like the little bowl you have, or that type of art, and also the type of designing that you use for it, that can be applied to so many other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I find artificial intelligence interesting, or 3D printing, because this opens a new perspective. This is like our zeitgeist at the moment. This is what we do right now. We work with compute. I'm not saying I'm good with everything that happens, but I'm just exploring
Oh,
and
yeah.
explore the new possibilities, because it's something new. It's like, oh, a new tool came out, so let's play with it. Let's see what we
Exactly.
can do,
No,
just
I
for a
agree
while,
with
and
you.
then I move on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think also that sometimes we're scared of something new, because we think it's going to take something away from us, but it's going to really add something if we use it
Yeah.
in the right way. So,
Yes.
yeah, and I think in art also, there are, there will be negatives, but there will also be positives.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
It's a new area and we don't know where it will go. But
exactly.
it's interesting to be there and not just close the door. It's interesting to just see, yeah, what can I do? How can I use it for myself?
Yeah,
And yeah. So I'm very excited about the future. I'm also scared. I don't know what's coming. I feel like the last 100 years, so many things happen, and life, I don't know. Someone said the last 100 years, more things happen than the last 1,000 years in terms of technology and everything, of course, and like how fast-paced life is and how we change. And if you think about, like, when I was young, I grew up without telephone and internet, and now we have that. So it's so fast-paced. we can't. I mean, we can, but I don't want to. I don't want to judge anyone. I just feel like I want to be on top. I want to go with it. I want to swim with the flow. I don't want to sit in old patterns and then never grow out of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't suit to my lifestyle. I can't stick in my countryside hometown. I can't leave my countryside hometown, come to London, and then do very conservative ceramics.
Mm.
It doesn't fit to me because here it's like loud and colorful and crazy, disgusting, lovely. All sorts of things are happening here. And you're always the reflection of or the art is always the reflection of your environment, even if
Exactly.
you don't realize.
Mm.
It's always influences you.
Mm-hmm. But I think your background and your background of being in nature and now being in the city, you are somebody who can, you have a great voice through your art to speak, and to make people aware. So it's wonderful.
I love the combination.
Yeah.
Both of them.
I know London. I lived close to London for a long time. So I know what you're talking about. So I know the buzz of London. And yeah, it is true. You have to, you have to sort of use that energy for yourself as well.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. But Anna, this was so great to talk to you.
It was. Thank you for having me.
And really congratulations with the work that you've been doing, and also all the best with everything new you're going to do. And I hope to see I'll be following you on Instagram still and looking at your wonderful work.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure what I've seen from the past work, the work of the future will be as exciting.
Can I add something quick, or do we not have time?
Yes.
I'm planning. It's something new. I was
Yeah.
thinking I should say, but it's okay. I'm doing some pottery courses in Austria, so I'm still living in London,
Oh,
but I'm
wow.
planning to do some retreats with getting clay from the forest, firing it there, wood firing, forging your own tools in the metal blacksmith company of my dad. My dad and my brother are blacksmith. So it's a good combination, and I want to bring that to people. So I want that they come so I can share my own experience. And I would love to have some people from London coming to me. See what I mean? I'm just talking about it, but I want them to feel how great it is to sit in the forest, in the silence, create something there, sit on a branch and just create some artworks.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
sounds amazing.
that's what I brought out
Where
of
will that be?
It's next to Graz. There's a city called Deutschlandsberg, which is not far away from Graz. So Graz is like 2.5 hours from Vienna. You can also fly there, of course. I usually fly to Vienna and then I take a bus to my hometown.
Okay.
About 2.5 hours. Yeah.
And when are you planning this?
From next year. I ordered some pottery wheels, but they sadly didn't come yet. So I was planning to do it this year, but in approximately May next year. I'm not sure. We set up a studio.
Yeah, I hope you post something about that, because I would be so interested in seeing how that goes and what you're doing. I love that idea.
Yeah. Lovely.
Okay. But Anna, have a lovely day and let me know when you're in Vienna. Then maybe we can grab a coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.